Bismillah, peace be upon you. I wanted to make this video to talk a little about my life in the Tariqa of Shaykh Mohammed, which is in Nador, Morocco. It has already brought me a lot. The saints of God are dear. He is a saint recognized by all his disciples because we have many proofs between visions of light, dreams, the experiences of brothers around us, and our own experiences. We have realized that he is the saint of our time. He perfectly corresponds to the saints of the past, all the saints. Because we have heard of saints from the past, he has the same parameters, the same signs, the great signs. I just wanted to talk about 3 miracles that happened to me in this Tariqa. The first is the first time I arrived at the Zawiya and did the spiritual dance. You know, in the Zawiya, it was already said that I had a sign because I was in remission from colon cancer, and he had told me that I had been healed in this hadra. Indeed, years have passed, and controls at the hospital in Lyon, at Léon Bérard, proved that I am cured of cancer. So thanks to God, by the Baraka of the Wali. It's not the Wali who does the miracle. The Wali just prays. It's God who answers. Because the Shaykh has purified himself so much that his heart becomes a lamp of light. The light of God springs from him. He's someone extraordinary, gentle, sincere, fantastic. But many brothers have made many videos about him. I wanted to focus only on the miracles that I could observe, testified by myself. In 2020, there was COVID in France, and unfortunately, I caught COVID quite severely. I lost 9 kilos in 7 days, and around me there were my parents. Well, my mother. There was a cousin, his wife, and they all left with COVID at that time, in those 2 weeks. And I was ready to be taken to the hospital because I couldn't eat anymore. I was losing weight. And Shaykh Mohammed and his wife spent the night in prayer until the morning for me. Monday morning, the doctor called my wife and said, "We're going to admit him. I'm going to hospitalize him. Can't wait any longer." And there was a miracle. I started to eat a little. I started to eat a little, and I started to recover slowly, slowly, slowly. And I came back to myself. Then we did a lung scan, and half of the lungs were affected by COVID. And thank God, by the Baraka of our dear Shaykh, I got out thanks to his prayers and his invocations. I felt it. I felt the strength of his Baraka on me. A few years later, 2 or 3 years ago, another phenomenon happened to me regarding my health. I had abdominal surgery. I have a problem. I have a diaphragmatic hernia on the left side, and the stomach is raised inside. So an operation that consisted of bringing the stomach back down, stitching it with anchor points. And I have a very, very, very disabling herniated disc. I went to the health center in Lyon, specialist in back problems like this, herniated discs. And the guy, the doctor, he puts an MRI like this. He shows me, he says, "See, you really have a big problem. You need to have the operation." And for the operation, he wanted to go through the belly, already that the belly was sewn. And he wanted to go through my belly to operate on my herniated disc. I told him, "Wait, I'm going to Morocco. I'll come back to tell you." And when I went to the Zawiya in Morocco, I asked the Shaykh, I told the Shaykh, "They want to operate on me for the herniated disc." He asked me, "What did they say?" I said, "They say it might hurt." He said, "If they say it might hurt, it means it will hurt." And I said, "What should I do?" He said, "I advise you not to have the operation." Thank you, Shaykh. And look, it's been almost 2.5, 3 years since I talked to him. Since I talked to him, I've never had pain again. Never. The belt, I gave it to someone who needed it in Morocco. And look, they made me this before the operation. Wait, I'm going to show you. It's a shell we really put for the back. It's really when it's very, 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 very serious. It's to maintain the spine, a custom-made thing. It was really serious what I had. Well, since that time, I've had no more back problems. It completely disappeared. And the saint of God doesn't say, "I'm going to heal you," or "I'm going to treat you," or "I'm going to anything." He says nothing. He simply says, "Don't do that. It will hurt if they said it will hurt. You will suffer. You will be in pain. And the Baraka of the Wali is incredible. It's incredible. Because the Wali, around him, there's everything that says, my servant does not cease to come closer to me by doing what I have prescribed for him and will not cease, I summarize, to come closer to me by adding other obligatory acts until I love him. When I love him, I become the hand by which he grasps. That surrounds the saint. And the saint is what he has done. He has sacrificed himself so much that it's no longer his Baraka. He functions only by the Baraka of God, and by the Baraka of God he walks with the Baraka of God. There, he has the light that was in him, so all the brothers can testify to the vision of the light. I testify too. And the vast majority, almost 90% of the disciples, listen to me well. There are many people who don't want to hear what I'm saying. They do the consultation prayer for Muslims. They know it's the consultation prayer that the Prophet gave us. We ask God. Is it we ask God for everything? And there we can say, God, is this your saint? I've done 4, and all 4 were like day. It was very powerful, and I've only had signs and miracles with this man. He's a saint who only wants good for people, insects, animals, plants. He's someone extraordinary. Extraordinary. One day, just to conclude, one day there was a disciple. You have a Carcaja there were many cats. Then he had arranged for a cat. He said to him, come and see, and you now. You're going to feed all the cats. You don't want to give to one, but not to others. He's someone very, very endearing and extraordinary. He asks nothing for himself, and he opens hearts to God in the light. In this age of darkness, even Muslims, the majority of Muslims, I'm talking about even the others are Muslims. They practice without a veil of dunya. It's dunya respect, and think only of the earth that it builds before buying. You know that eternity, imagine for a second that it's eternity. It's an infinite bobbin. Let's say it's a kind of infinite ball of wool like that, and we have a tiny bit on earth, a tiny bit. All the rest is with God. It's in paradise or hell. But the one who does that well, of course he goes to paradise, but I'll make other videos to talk about that. But there, it was to conclude, I was saying that with these tears, mashallah, in silence, miracles happen. And I can tell you that I haven't talked about it. I said I'm fine. But it's extraordinary. And I have other things too that I experienced spectacularly in the Zawiya. But well, that will be next time. I thank you for listening to me. Thank you for listening to me. May God bless you and fill you with joy and happiness. Thank you.